Hello everyone and welcome to SentUAMessage. Morning Dan, you've been up to much this week?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Andy. I've noticed a trend in games recently, namely that of mantling.
I wasn't really looking for an actual answer, more of a not much, then we could just start with that.
Oh, what is mantling, you ask? Well, check it out. So yeah, this week I've mostly been mantling.
Great stuff. So question one this week.
As illustrated by this fantastic montage.
Right, so
Mantling!
should probably start. So Luke Nichols has a long memory and a short temper and wants to know what the hell is going on with I'm Alive.
Well, it has been a while. Ubisoft's post-apocalyptic survival game I Am Alive was announced at E3 2008.
They had video games back then.
Yeah, incredible. As it seems, yes, they did. However, while it had an interesting premise and plenty of non-specific concept art and footage, the game was conspicuously short on actual details and concrete proof of actually existing, giving it the reputation of being vaporware. That is, until now.
Yes, Ubisoft has announced that I'm Alive is still coming out, only now, instead of being a boxed retail release, the game will be coming to Xbox Live Arcade. The game is set in the aftermath of an apocalyptic event called, well, The Event. To be fair, they probably didn't have time to think up a catchy name for it, what with all the apocalypsing going on.
Yeah, the post-apocalyptic world of I Am Alive is more the road than Mad Max, so put away those Legion of Doom shoulder pads and get ready for plenty of scavenging, fighting and surviving in a world where the environment is possibly more of a threat than the actual enemies. That said, roaming gangs of irritable survivors who are out for your blood is still cause for concern.
Yeah, you play Adam Collins, who's trying to find his wife and daughter after the events. It looks like you do this through a mixture of platforming and shooting people in the head. The trailer shows off some very Assassin's Creed-y jumping and ledge climbing, while the weaponry on show ranges from machetes and longbows to pistols and sniper rifles.
There are also more inventive survival tactics like scaring off enemies with empty guns, as well as using abandoned vehicles to get around the ruins of the city. You'll also need to find food and water to ensure that the game's title is still relevant.
The game's still as intriguing as ever, but now it's on XBLA, it'll most likely be more of a capsule experience. It will certainly be cheaper anyway, so that's something. I'm Alive is set for a winter release, so not long to wait now, Luke, if you can just calm down a bit, yeah? Pristine Me is a busy man and can't waste time on games that don't meet his exacting standards.
I imagine that's how he stays so pristine, constant vigilance.
Indeed. Well, he thinks Prey 2 might live up to his lofty expectations.
Well, he might be right depending on his opinion on games about intergalactic bounty hunters, because that's what Prey 2 is.
Right, now, you may remember the first Prey as being that game about a Cherokee Native American called Tommy who could go on spirit voyages outside his own body, who was then abducted by aliens and then shot most of them.
Yeah, that is exactly how I remember it.
Well, Prey 2 shifts the focus to a new protagonist, US Marshal Killian Samuels.
Oh, that's an outrage. No one's called Killian.
Killian is aboard a plane that crashes into the Sphere, a big organic alien spaceship. It's the very same crash that Tommy witnesses in the first game. However, being a US Marshal, Killian is armed with a pistol and so fights his way out of the plane's wreckage, gunning down aliens left, right and centre, before being knocked unconscious.
It wasn't the best of plans, admittedly, but you come up with something better under the circumstances. Anyway, the story then jumps ahead 2 years, with Killian established as a renowned bounty hunter and a pretty comprehensive case of amnesia as regards the aforementioned 2 years.
The fact that you're now literally a hunter is a pretty big switch for the series. The first game was, as you can tell from the title, about you being prey for the aliens. Now you'll be tracking them down in your capacity as bounty hunter for hire.
The section of the game we've seen so far is set on the alien world of Exodus, which, like the Syndicate reboot revealed in the last episode, owes a rather heavy visual debt to the film Blade Runner.
That movie just come back into stock in all these developers' local video stores or something. Let's wait till I see The Matrix, there's going to be PVC trench coats everywhere.
Regardless, the developers are calling the look alien noir, and it's an apt description both of the visual style and the tone of the game as you track your alien quarry through the seedy nightclubs and backstreets of the city's underbelly.
You won't be just using your rubbish human abilities, however. Where'd be the fun in that? Naturally, you've got access to all manner of cool sci-fi gadgetry and weaponry, including a scanner that lets you see through walls, an anti-gravity field that you can toss enemies up in the air with, jet boots, electric bowlers, and a shoulder-mounted rocket launcher. Killian, stop it, is also a dab hand at parkour, meaning he'll be running, jumping...
Mantling?
Very possibly, in pursuit of his bounties. The game also features an honour system that affects your reputation and the attitude of the local law enforcement to your bounty hijinks, as well as moral decisions for you to make when you do make your collar, like whether to turn the unlucky criminal in or accept a bribe to let them go free, with consequences down the road regardless of the decision you make.
All this bounty hunting is in service of an overarching story, though, as you try to piece together your missing memory, apparently helped along the way by the returning Tommy.
Prey 2 turns the concept of the original game on its head, a bold decision and hopefully one that will pay off when the game releases in March 2012. Stay tuned for more as and when we get it. Right, Chris Locke and a few others over on our Facebook page are wondering about the Gears of War 3 Season Pass, how it works, and what you get for your hard-earned Xbox Fun Coins, or Microsoft points, as everyone seems to keep referring to them despite our best efforts.
Well, it's pretty straightforward, Chris. The Gears 3 Season Pass costs 2,400 Fun Coins and basically equates to you pre-ordering and paying for the first 4 add-ons to be released for the game. Each add-on costs 800 Fun Coins individually, so you'll make a saving of 800 Fun Coins with the Season Pass.
And you won't have to wait too long for the first bit of content to hit either. Called the Horde Command Pack, the first add-on is a hefty boost to the game's standout Horde mode, adding 3 new maps, 3 new playable characters, 2 new weapon skins, some fortification upgrades, and I think we can all agree on this most importantly, new achievements totaling 250 gamerscore.
So the maps, which are also playable in Beast Mode and Private Versus games, start with Blood Drive, set in the Jacinto Medical Plaza. This was a hospital that people flocked to after the government-sanctioned hammer strikes, where they all got a bit annoyed and started rioting, setting things on fire and generally making a nuisance of themselves. It's got plenty of high ground and choke points, however, so, you know, every cloud and all that.
Then there's Rustlung, a decommissioned battleship with an exposed central torpedo bay and a silverback mech replacing the loader.
And finally there's Azura, a former island resort for society's elite that is now a much less pleasant place to spend a vacation due to all the monsters and death and stuff.
As for those fortification upgrades, they include a brand new fortification known as the Command Center, which lets you call in fire support like snipers, mortars and multiple hammers of dawn, and upgrades the decoy, sentry and silverback, making them all much more formidable bits of kit.
Finally, the new weapon skins are Team Plasma and Jungle Camo, and the new characters are Onyx Guard, an elite mass cog, Big Rig Dizzy, an amusing trucker in dungarees, and Bernie, a dreadlocked female cog.
As mentioned before, the DLC will be 800 MSP.
You mean Fun Coins?
Give it up. If you're buying it individually, or effectively free if you've got the Season Pass, and it's out
on the 1st of November.
I was going to say that. Blazed One isn't above circumventing traditional spelling conventions to let his gamertag speak volumes about his lifestyle choices, nor does he worry about kicking young girls off bridges in the name of victory, in Dead or Alive. He's heard murmurings of a 5th instalment of the series and wants us to confirm if they're voices of truth or just the ones he usually hears in his mind.
Fortunately, they speak the truth on this occasion, just don't pay attention when they tell you to burn things. Now, just before the Tokyo Game Show kicked off last month, Tecmo Koei and Team Ninja revealed the first footage of Dead or Alive 5 in action. In it, Steer's stalwarts Hayate and Ryu Hayabusa, who you may recall is also the star of Ninja Gaiden, hit each other a lot, both seemingly oblivious to the fact that a construction site is collapsing around them.
While the combat looks like classic DOA, the dynamic changes to the environment caused by the ensuing chaos look set to alter the flow of battles by reshaping and resizing the battle arenas mid-fight. That aside, it all looks pretty incredible, loaning an additional cinematic quality to the OTT combat the series has become associated with.
Well, that's all well and good, but where's, well, you know.
Oh, you mean?
Oh, good. Oh, so they sweat now. That's
yeah, tragic.
Yeah. Thomas Huckabee writes in asking about the collector's edition of Sonic Generations and whether it will be making its way to North America. I've got a feeling it's going to be disappointing.
Shh, spoilers. So, Sonic Generations is the latest, and if Sega is to be believed, greatest Sonic game released to coincide with the 20th anniversary of Sonic's 1991 debut.
20 years?
Sadly, yes.
My youth. Why?
Anyway, Sonic and his friends are hanging out, doing whatever it is they do, something to do with chili dogs, I think, when a time hole appears.
Again? Oh, this is getting really annoying.
It's not ideal, yeah. Anyway, Sonic's mates are sucked into the time hole, which scatters them across 20 years of Sonic games, and today Sonic has to team up with classic Sonic to rescue them. How will Sonic and Sonic get along with their obvious differences? This will never work.
So you'll be playing as 2 different Sonics, modern and classic. The biggest differences between the 2 is their appearance. Classic Sonic is short, a bit fat and totally adorable, while modern Sonic is a lanky beanpole with legs 100 feet long who likes snowboarding and doing things that are rad to the max.
However, they also play very differently as well. Classic Sonic's gameplay is strictly 2D with moves like the spin dash and spin attack, while modern Sonic gets the 2D, 3D mix of recent Sonic games like Sonic Colors and Sonic Unleashed, with moves like the homing attack and quick step. The levels are divided across 3 eras: Classic, i.e. Mega Drive, Dreamcast, and Modern, with the most iconic stages from each era making revamped appearances.
So that's the game. What of the special edition?
Well, Sega has announced a collector's edition of the game, which features a figurine of Classic and Modern Sonic together, a commemorative gold ring, a 20 Years of Sonic art book full of sketches and concept art, a 20th anniversary Sonic soundtrack with tracks handpicked by Team Sonic, a History of Sonic, Birth of an Icon documentary full of interviews and rare footage, and bonus downloadable content. That's the good news. The bad news is the collector's edition is currently limited to Europe and Australia only, with Sega currently determinedly silent on the topic of its release anywhere else.
Now, there's no word on pricing or any online retailers as yet, but for European and Australian viewers, the special edition release is the same time as the game itself, the 4th of November in Europe and a day earlier in Australia. Now, our American friends get one advantage over us then, as they'll get the game on the 1st of November.
Looks like we've received a telegram here from ArcAngal65, who's worrying us for Dead Island DLC news as the Orient Express sits idling at a relay station outside of Istanbul.
Yeah, they had to stop the train specially. Anyway, the first piece of DLC for Dead Island is called the Bloodbath Arena Pack, and it brings a Horde-style survival challenge to the former paradise island of Banoi, now better known for its indigenous zombie population rather than its excellent beaches and affordable Sunlounger hire. It was meant to be out already, but the release has been pushed back due to Techland still polishing the actual game itself a month after its release.
Yeah, you'll be facing off against waves of zombies in 4 new arenas, with your goal being to stay alive as long as possible. Hopefully this will be made easier by the also announced new weapon, the Brainwave Bomb.
What does that do?
It doesn't say.
Do you think all the zombies simultaneously have great ideas and then go off to act on them, leaving you to just go about your own business?
I think it's probably more along the lines of a messy scanner-style head explosion.
Seriously, worst holiday result ever.
There are also leaderboards, so you competitive lot can see how you measure up against your friends and rank your respective worth as human beings accordingly, and experience from the Bloodbath Arena will carry over into the main game as well, letting you level up your chosen character more quickly. People who bought the special edition of Dead Island will already have a voucher to download the DLC when it's available. If you don't have a voucher, it'll be 800 MS
Xbox
P.
Funsies. Scribbler MC is after news on ProType 2, the follow-up to the best-selling touch-typing tutorial software from Furious Finger Studios. Well, I'm glad someone shares the same passion for boosting their words per minute rather than their gamerscore scribble, so I'm delighted to reveal that ProType 2 will feature over 1,000 new typing drills and the return of everyone's favourite fictional typing tutor, Mavis Beacon.
I'm fairly sure that's a typo and he means Prototype 2.
That would be quite ironic, wouldn't it?
Not in any intentional way, but I guess. Also, there's the fact that the Xbox 360 doesn't support keyboards and you made up ProType 2. So this is basically you trolling people who write in to say the show doesn't get to the point quickly enough.
Well, that's exactly what it is, yeah. Well, if it's Prototype 2 info you're after, Scribblesy, then I had a chat with a chap working on the game at Gamescom who had some fresh information to divulge.
So things we were showing off in this demo that we're really excited about is the level of ambience of the world really reacting to Heller. So when Heller's a Blackwatch soldier, they're afraid of him. We're really excited of those things. Some of the new moves, making the Hammer Fist Heller's instead of Alex's. We really wanted his to be his own. So we're really proud of that. Some of the new features, obviously, the ability to pick up people and put them down is actually a lot of fun. People have a good time with it. You can actually do that with vehicles as well, so you can kind of create your own little puzzle if you want. Other than that, just really showcasing our new visuals and our improved gameplay, much more tactics to the gameplay. Some of the things like the shield, which allows the player to deflect missiles back instead of it just being an absorption weapon or defensive power from before.
And that's it for another week's SWAM Meet. But remember, your questions are the video game reference that completes the standard structure of this sentence. So keep them coming into the gamertag Sent You a Message.
Mail them to us on our e-address at sentyouamessage@hotmail.com.
At our tweet ports at Sent You a Message.
Or what the hell have they done to the layout again at facebook.com/sentyouamessage.
Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Mantling!
Why is nobody helping me?